Welcome back, folks, to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney for the Nintendo DS. I'm SamuraiT-X and I'm Solid Snake. Welcome back, Snake. It's been a while. Thank you. And sorry I've been gone for that. That's alright, don't worry. And last time we left off, well, after Lana's telling us about the SL9 and her work in the past with Chief Gantz, we decided to, well, go to the criminal affairs, which no one was there. Then we went to police department and we found Jake Marshall. Jake Marshall told us everything about the SL9, and now he says Edruff isn't his enemy, Chief Gant is, after all that's happened. And well, after Jake Marshall told us everything, he's definitely not going to be part of the police force or any sort of police work anymore, because, well, he's going to get fired. He knows it, because after all the crimes he committed, that's what happens to you as a police officer. So, now we're back here and we find Detective Gumshoe. But before we found Detective Gumshoe, we got kicked out of Damon Gantz's office for trying to investigate it earlier. And, well, yeah, that's all that happened before we ran into Detective Gumshoe. So without further ado, we're going to talk to Detective Gumshoe. Edruff's crisis. But why would Edruff be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? No. Oh dear. Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence he will present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been rumors going around about Mr. Edruff. Those who don't like him haven't been able to do anything because of his amazing talent as a prosecutor. Now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? Pretty much. There's a lot of people who hate him right now. In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edruff not only had that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know for making enemies. Gold Snake, wanna read the police officer? Sure. Hey, Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. It seems you don't have any problem with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about it. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edruff just might crack. SL9 incident. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Dark left behind during his final attack. His final attack? You mean? When he killed Prosecutor Marshall, he was trying to protect some girl. Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what is it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in there, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Alright, let's talk about Dark's crimes first, though. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So, it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed a man that witnessed the accident, then he killed a lady who saw the second crime. The kid walked by, so he killed him too. And then he was burying the bodies. A jogger came along the scene and killed him as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this was all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in? Yeah, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too. Unfortunately, he was arrested on the spot. It was a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness? He must mean Emma. Right, we're going to present him the switchblade knife, obviously, because that's the murder weapon I think he's talking about, because that was Joe Dark's weapon during this SL9. About this... Hey, don't tell me that's... It has a tag attached to it, with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, the knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker and was found in Mr. Edger's car muffler. That's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what was it, Detective? Quick, before you forget it again. Alright. Talk. Murder weapon. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he brought it at, and they had his fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck runs out. When you take a good look at the knife, you will see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look at that to notice it. Yeah, well, anyway, take a guess where the broken tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. Huh? It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Okay. Alright. Well, there you have... Oh, wait. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gann. It's not money, but it does concern the Chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The Chief's out now, and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around it if that's okay. Well, anyway, Detective's ID card can open the door. What? Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with a breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put it, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Well, we are going to visit Mr. Edgeworth next because, well, I wonder how he's doing. He's under pressure and all, but I want to visit him. And that's going to be in the underground parking lot. Yeah, it's best we visit him. February 24th, Prosecutor's Office, underground parking lot. No one's here today, not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into what happened down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15. On the day of the crime. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Alright, let's visit Mr. Edgeworth. Let's see if he's in his office. February 24th. High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is. It looks like he's writing something. Huh? What are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in the court, huh? I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me?
Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you.
That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So, what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. Forged evidence. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do will erase that fact. Well, you didn't know, did you? I mean, that was the evidence that the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutors office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we'd stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error, my responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same, no matter what excuse I might have.
Mr. Edgeworth,
I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Tomorrow's trial. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial, and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. Well, we are friends, Edgeworth. Of course I'm gonna worry about you, man. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. Ouch.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial.
Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? That list of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists? That is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but at the time there was only one thing on my mind. I'd use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty.
Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time.
That picture? Something seemed strange about it. Yeah, we're going to talk about the day of the crime though. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered? You participate in a ceremony over at the station, right? I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one.
Because you were awarded this?
Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out of the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is until I was asked to take something back.
Take something back?
This.
Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold onto that, didn't he?
Yes, it was a piece of evidence in that case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So, you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? That's right. Sorry, I was drinking water there. Gotta keep my, gotta prevent myself from being thirsty. That's why. Sorry. Alright. Let's present this team picture because, well, the trophy, obviously. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy.
Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me.
Yes.
The trophy that Mr. Marshall is holding, is a little different than yours.
Yes, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? That was the official prosecutor's trophy used until that time. There's a story behind it.
A story?
Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. Alright. Well, I don't mind. You can tell us. Prosecutor's Trophy. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with two characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it, though? For Emma's sake. Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with two items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive, but then again you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. I like the way he randomly threw an objection there, actually. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born.
Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken eye symbolizes...
Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words, but it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this.
Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today.
That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gant. Okay, thanks for the news. Right. What I want to do is examine that thing on the floor. That paper. I wonder what he was writing before.
Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's take a look.
Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there.
Just to distract him. I'll check it out.
Hey, Edgeworth.
Is that Detective Dumpshire out the window there? Oh no, he's falling onto the ground.
Hold on. First, let me see what this girl's doing crawling around at my feet. He didn't even look.
What? Letter of...
If you can't read, I'll read it for you. It says letter of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, Mr. Wright. I feel as if something inside me has died.
But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault.
I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done, and no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh, I think he's serious.
Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something.
This letter of resignation, I wonder if I could use it for anything. Alright. So, when we come back, folks, we will continue our investigation. Until then, thanks for watching. Catch you guys later. Thank you for watching again, and I'll see you guys next time.